You should quickly understand what is the difference or what are the common things between any other property and intellectual property. Like any other property, I have given you an example of a house, and on the right side you have a patent certificate on the right, Indian government patent certificate. So what are the common things between them? Just as a house or a piece of land or a farm, you can always buy and sell intellectual property. You can license an intellectual property. You can assign an intellectual property. You can provide for development of intellectual property, and you can do licensing and mortgaging, keep it for raising loan or etc. So it is very powerful tool. It is very powerful tool. All the private entities, which is why they always have intellectual properties, which they use for generating money, raising money. Okay. Then why it is then different from, if it is so similar to same as property, it fundamental understanding of intellectual property is different. Here I would like to seek your attention. Any other property is a property which is having a positive right. It's a positive right. If I am owner of a land or a house, it is a positive right lying with me, that whenever I want I can sell it, whenever I want I can do whatever with that. All possible legal transactions, I can do that. It is a positive right vested with me. Whereas in case of intellectual property right, it is a negative right. It is not that what I can do, it is what others cannot do. If I have a patent on some technology, the right with me is to stop all of you from commercially exploiting that patent. So which is why it is a negative right. Please remember, it's a negative right. It's a monopolistic right which is dependent upon market. If I have a piece of land, its price may go up and down, but my ownership doesn't change. But if I have an IPR, if there is no market, there is no IPR. If there is no demand, there is no IPR. Which is why the requirement from all of you, why you people carry out your literature, research gap analysis before you carry out your research, is to see that your research, your very important time of your life you are investing in your research, 2 years in MSc, 3-4 years in your PhD, should be invested in something where which there will be a demand, an expected demand. There will be an expected solution from that research. Okay. Please remember that IPR, intellectual property right, is a tripartite agreement in a society. It is an agreement between society, inventor, and regulator. Inventor, society, and regulator. I give an example. For example, climate is an example. COVID was an example. The moment we had COVID, everybody wanted some solution from COVID. That means there is a challenge in the society. And people have, let us say, solutions. We have a solution for COVID. You take this medicine, you will have, I'm giving you a hypothetical example. You can survive COVID. Then somebody has to say that, okay, I have invented this one, so I should get reward, I should get support. So a regulator will come in picture, give IPR to the entity, either a person or a company with the solution, and then that is an agreement. Okay, the society is ready to reward, to support inventors so that we get better invention, so that we get better solutions, we get efficient solutions. When I say efficient, that means the cost comes down, the time comes down, and the environment becomes more and more environmental friendly. Okay, which is why this is a tripartite agreement. Remember this. It's not something one-to-one agreement. It is a tripartite agreement between society, that means government, and regulator who is going to invent. For example, in case of plant variety, it's the plant variety authority. In case of patent, it is the patent authority. When somebody is required to regulate that, and the inventor. Which is why, what is the purpose of that? You have a challenge to society, you have an invention, and an invention will give you a solution, and then challenge is mitigated. And this is where this climate challenge also fits in. So whatever solutions you come out with during your research time, ensure that just do not print your thesis, do not publish your papers. Also go one step further. Just go one step further to convert that into some kind of technology which is useful for farmers, other clients, and you also get benefited. The university gets it. Okay. I'll not go quickly into details, but please remember that the current system of intellectual property rights worldwide is based on what is there in what is called as World Trade Organization, which came from the let's say discussions under under long-running trade-related intellectual property TRIPS. So we have a TRIPS agreement. Okay, this is the TRIPS agreement. All the why we should understand this is, if you have an intellectual property and if you have a patent here, if somebody infringes upon that patent, somebody violates that patent, somebody violates your rights from USA, like people did on our turmeric, people did on our brinjal, people did on our various other indigenous technical knowledges. So people can do it from outside. So which is why we need to have an agreement among the countries so that each other's rights are respected. So which is why we have TRIPS agreement. And to implement that, in India we have all these acts. So everything is codified. We have acts, we have institutions, we have rules, everything is there. If you do not follow, it is our mistake. Okay. Now, my first question is, like Pataji mentioned, India always thought about, the country has always been a propounder of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means whatever we know, we will give it to you, you come here, we support each other, everything's fine. But now it's the day of intellectual property, it's the era of intellectual property. However, if the country says that all the research which is being carried out here in the university or in other institutions is based on taxpayers' money, or all of you are, let's say, influenced by what Pathak Saab just mentioned, कि कुछ दो, कुछ करके country को दे दो, कुछ बनाइए. Then you say that I do not want any reward from whatever research I am doing. मुझे कोई IPR की जरूरत नहीं. I don't need any IPR. But still you must know about IPR. Why? The first point, I must ensure that conducting research without infringing upon others' IPRs. You may not be interested in IPRs, but you cannot conduct research or you cannot conduct any kind of commercial activity by infringing upon others' IPRs. दूसरों के IPRs को infringe नहीं कर सकते. जैसे बाकी लोग हमारे बासमती के ऊपर, टर्मरिक या अलग अलग जो भी चीजें हैं उसके ऊपर infringe करने की कोशिश की, आप लोग नहीं कर सकते हैं. इसका मतलब क्या है? Before your research, you carry out some amount of review of literature. सब लोग Google Scholar use किए होंगे. I'm sure people use Google Scholar, but I'm also sure that nobody has used Google Patents. इसके बारे में शायद किसी को पता ही नहीं. Google Scholar lists all the published things, correct? All the publications. But what about all those applications or the patents that have been granted in the area in which you want to work? जिसमें आप अपने 5 साल इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं, अभी रिसर्च करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं, क्या उसमें ऑलरेडी टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल है और पेटेंटेड भी है, लेकिन पब्लिश नहीं है? People have already issued a US patent or an Indian patent or a Japanese patent, उस एरिया में ऑलरेडी है, दे दिए गए हैं, जिसमें आप अभी काम शुरू करने वाले हो 5 साल इन्वेस्ट करके अपने लाइफ में. तो इट्स अ लॉस, इट्स अ ह्यूज लॉस. आपको कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है, यूनिवर्सिटी को भी कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है, इंडियन सोसाइटी को भी कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है, just because the mistake of not doing proper review of literature. So from today onwards, please carry out review of literature on both, on the Google Scholar, that means the literature subject, also on Google Patents. अगर किसी को पेटेंट मिल गया है या किसी की पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन पेंडिंग है, अंडर एग्जामिनेशन है, you will come to know that these are the things that people are already carrying out. उससे दो फायदा है. Number one, that you already know what has happened, so you will rethink about your strategy. Number two, you will also know what has been done. क्योंकि पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन में सारे डिटेल्स रहते हैं. All the details will be there, so you will understand. Okay, I should change my strategy. Okay, I'm sure you will take on this message. Second one is about I must defend my IP rights against other users. I'm not saying that you people should make money, but you people should protect your IP rights. When I say your IP rights, it means university's IP rights. It means state's IP rights. It means India's IP rights. It doesn't mean that individual's IP rights. If I have to protect my IP rights, I am also protecting my country's IP rights. तो ये करना जरूरी है. पैसे earn मत करिए. For example, I have found out something which is very very useful, which can be useful for small farmers. मुझे उनसे पैसे नहीं लेना है, मत लीजिए. But still you get it protected. If you do not get it protected, somebody else will get it protected because you failed to get it protected. फिर वो मुझसे पैसे लेंगे, फिर आपकी फेलियर. You have failed yourself, you have failed the farmer sector. इसीलिए if something is worthwhile protecting, get it protected so that others do not protect it. समझे? So second point is that I must defend my IP rights against other users. So the third one is, which is very important for students of agriculture. I would not have shown this third point to other places. कोई management students है, कोई और है जो agriculture से नहीं है, university से नहीं है. But this because we are all, our clients are agriculture, our forefathers are in agriculture, and who you never know, we will also be doing some agriculture. We must defend the community and sovereign rights. You may not be interested, or you may be interested to protect your rights, but you must protect these sovereign rights as well as community rights from where we belong to. Our rights of the communities where we belong to is also our duty. तो ये करना भी आप ही की जिम्मेदारी है. अगर कोई लैंड रेस या कुछ भी चीजें जो नॉलेज है जो फार्मर्स के पास है, जो कम्युनिटी के पास है, उसको लेकर के मिस यूज कर रहे हैं, उसको लेकर के प्रोटेक्शन लेने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो किसकी जिम्मेदारी है इसको रोकना? It is our duty. It is the duty of the students in the university. And the last one, which is very important, that I must justify the substantial cost incurred in R&D by commercializing my technology. Unless I commercialize my technology, then there is no use of investing so much of money by the government, no use of investing your own life, 5 years or 3 years or whatever in that. So always ensure that some small technology doesn't mean that a bomb making or a rocket technology. Any small step, any small improvement is a technology. Okay? Fine, I will not spend a lot of time on this. Okay, very important. If we look around in the world, we classify all the countries into developed countries, developing countries, least developed countries, and all. On what basis? On the amount of the GDP they have, on the amount of per capita income they have, etc., etc. So many things. So if you see here, these are patents granted globally in the last decade, earlier decade. That means from 2000 to 2018, the patents granted globally to these countries, inventors from these countries. I'm sure you can read that. The green one is Japan, then USA, China, Korea, Germany, France, Russia, Switzerland, and UK, Italy. So these are all G7, G8 countries, very well developed countries. So we thought that everybody thinks, so high income, high GDP, industry, etc., etc. But look at this graph. This says patents granted globally. So that clearly means that all the developed countries, the criteria which are deciding to be the country to be a developed country overlaps with those countries which are highly innovative, very active in terms of innovation, active in terms of IPRs. So those countries that are good in IPRs, protecting their IPRs, carrying out inventions, are also developed countries. So that means if India wants to become developed by 2047, we cannot do ignoring this fact. I'm not saying that you forget your roots, you forget your culture, do anything, but you still need to develop and build this one in our system. Please remember that. Okay, which is why. So all these slogans, Viksit Bharat, Make in India, Atal Innovation Mission, all these things cannot bypass invention and IPRs. उसके बिना बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकता. Okay. There was a global innovation index, जैसे ये A++ ऐसे तरह के rankings हैं. All the countries are ranked based on global innovation index. So ये top 10 countries हैं. Okay. So you can see there. India was in 2015 81st rank, and in 2024 we have risen to 39th rank. So that means we are moving in the right direction. Viksit Bharat के लिए जो direction चाहिए, we are moving. So I show some evidence to that. Okay. In the previous pie chart, you saw that India was nowhere there in the top 10. अगर हम India top 5 economy बनने जा रहे हैं, तो we also should become top 5 innovating country also. The ecosystem of the country should be also supporting the invention. So you can see this here. On the left graph, these are the patents that are granted from the top 20 offices. That means we are already part of top 20. So you can see from left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you remove the EPO, that means European Patent Office, which is combined patent office for all the European countries. So India is in the top 5. So we have reached top 5. So this is the first step. And if you think that somebody else is doing this, कोई और कर रहा है, अच्छी बात है, बहुत बढ़िया है, we are also reaching, बहुत अच्छा है, ताली बजाना है, नहीं, we all have to become the part of this story. If you do not become part of this story, that means if agriculture cannot become the part of story of Viksit Bharat we cannot become a Viksit Bharat. So if you cannot become this part of the story of increasing the IP strength of the country, India cannot become Viksit Bharat. So you all should remember this. You do not lay back ऐसे आराम से मत बैठिए. We are all part of generating IP, intellectual property, and you all can do that. आप कर ही रहे हैं ऑलरेडी, बट आपको दिख नहीं रहा है कि आपकी इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी क्या जनरेट कर रहे हो आप, यही तो देखना है आपको. ओके, जस्ट टू यस. सिमिलरली वी हैव इन ट्रेडमार्क. अच्छी बात है, वी आर आल्सो इन द थर्ड, द ट्रेडमार्क. ट्रेडमार्क मतलब लोगोस. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट? दैट मींस द इन्वेंशन, द साइंस इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू अ प्रोडक्ट. नाउ दैट प्रोडक्ट इज बीइंग मार्केटेड. Whenever there are more trademarks in a country, that means more and more productions are there. जो भी हम पहनते हैं, गाड़ी है, कार है, जो इस तरह की चीजें हैं, you see that logos, more players in the market. More players in the market, that means your system is robust. So we are in third place in 2022. We are in third place. That means more players are coming. Our ecosystem is improving. Okay, so see, the story is very nice, but ये देखिए, this is where it is very alarming, very very alarming. In the morning also Vice Chancellor mentioned that plant variety application is the top 20 offices, top 10 offices in the world in 2022. We don't figure here. हम कहीं भी नहीं हैं. We are not there at all. If everybody is developing so many varieties, all the universities are releasing varieties, everybody is releasing varieties, कहाँ है फिर? If we have all registered all of them, अपने खुद के इतने नंबर हो जाते हैं कि we would have come somewhere here. After UK, US, somewhere we would have come. Nowhere they are there. That means, are we ignoring our own technology that we are developing varieties, but we are ignoring. If you are ignoring, private industry will take your material, release their variety. आप कहीं भी नहीं रहेंगे. Then your farmers, your neighboring, आपके घर के जो neighbor है, जो farmer है, वो प्राइवेट एंटिटी से वो पैसे दे करके वो वैरायटी खरीदेंगे जो वैरायटी आपने डेवलप किया था, जस्ट बिकॉज यू फेल्ड टू प्रोटेक्ट योर राइट. आपको इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है. ठीक है, यू कैन सी दिस इज वेरी वेरी अलार्मिंग एंड वी आर ऑल रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दिस अलार्मिंग सिचुएशन. ओके, क्विकली प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्रोटेक्शन ये है, जैसे डस्ट टेस्टिंग वगैरह आपने सुना होगा. डस्ट टेस्टिंग प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्रोटेक्शन ये है that you have to prove that it is novel. You have to prove that it is novel. You have to prove that. And then you also have to prove that it is useful in some cases. And you have file, examination, publish and grant. For example, a work is going on in this university and there is somebody who is visiting this university. You are all very proud of presenting your work. तो यहाँ आपने उनको बुलाया, यहाँ बिठाया, दूसरे कंट्री से आए थे, प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्री से आए थे, आपने अच्छी तरह से प्रेजेंट किया जैसे मैं प्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ अभी. उन्होंने सारा नोट कर लिया और वो चले गए और वो जा करके दे फाइल अ पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन इन इंडियन पेटेंट ऑफिस. दे हैव नॉट डन एनी वर्क, यू हैव डन द वर्क, बट दे फाइल द पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन. पेटेंट ऑफिस विल नॉट सी हु हैज डन द वर्क. पेटेंट ऑफिस विल सी हु हैज फाइल्ड द फर्स्ट एप्लीकेशन. बाद में आप उनको लिटिगेशन करते रहिए, नहीं इन्होंने नहीं किया, हमने किया, वो अलग बात है. Which is why file first, फाइल करिए, आगे बढ़िए. So whoever is यहाँ intellectual technology management unit है, जो भी part है, they all have to be very very active. Without which, okay, I just put because I don't have much time. I go to. We do not have a lot of things which are not patentable in India. मतलब जो सीनियर्स बैठे हैं यहाँ, दे माइट फील दैट ये क्या हो रहा है, दुनिया चेंज हो रही है, एग्रीकल्चर के सारे पेटेंटेड कर रहे हैं. ऐसी बात नहीं है. All these parts of agriculture, parts of plants, etc., not parts of animals, they are not patentable. Methods of agriculture are not patentable. It's only when you have novelty which is added to that it is patentable. In general, it is not. Okay. quickly, take 1 minute. About plant variety protection. Although plant variety protection is ignored by many other things, like Dr. Vijay Singh mentioned in the morning, that even in the UGC doesn't consider plant variety protection as some kind of a innovation, invention step, unfortunately. Whereas it is more tough. In case of a patent, what we are showing an example is one entity, one individual. I can show one individual and say that, look, this is how it looks, this is how it works. In case of variety, it is a population, which is why you have a dust testing, which is not there in others. Distinctiveness ठीक है invention में है, uniformity stability is not there in any other IP testing, it is there only in variety testing, because we are looking at a population. Those who understand genetics quickly पता चलेगा आपको, it is not one individual, it is a group of individuals. You have to show, you have to prove that whatever new thing you are saying, claiming is stable and it is also inherited, okay? Which is why dust testing. Condition is fine now, but not very good, I mentioned. So far, we have issued only 9,609 plant varieties protection. I'm sure 4-5 यूनिवर्सिटीज मिलकर इससे ज़्यादा varieties रिलीज कर चुके हैं 5 साल में. Okay, just one word on farmers' rights, which is very important. Everybody should understand this. What is a farmer's right? A farmer's right is number one. Is a farmer has all the rights as a breeder. For example, a farmer can breed a new variety, apply and get a variety protection just as any breeder in this university. A farmer can also get a protection just as any other breeder. So that is also one kind of farmer's right, which is not there in other countries. Number two, a farmer's right for compensated for his conservation efforts. There is no variety which we can develop, any breeder can develop a new variety as a possible नहीं है without using a pre-existing material. We are all using a pre-existing material for improvement. So somewhere it is pre-existing material will go to pre-existing and it will reach farmer's place. Somewhere we have access material from farmers, उसी चीज को improve करते 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 यहाँ तक पहुँच गए हम लोग. इसका मतलब all the farmers who are conserving these kind of things must be supported for, must be compensated for all those efforts, which is done in India, okay? And that is also farmers' right. The third one, which is very very important, that a farmer is not restricted from doing anything with a protected variety. अगर हम ये सोचते हैं कि ठीक है, there is a variety which is protected by the university or a private company from America, I think 30 seconds extra from a, and the farmer can do anything with that. No, there are few things which they cannot do. Number one, they can use that one, buy that one seed packet, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 रुपए लेके cotton seed ले लिया, कुछ भी ले लिया, they can just take that one, grow first crop this season, harvest, save the seeds, grow second crop next season, harvest, select and save the seeds, grow third crop, fourth crop, any number of times. Nobody can stop in India. This is part of the farmers' right. They can exchange with other farmers. Nobody can stop. Okay? They can also sell. Please remember, they can also sell by putting in small packets without any brand. ये वाला part important है. There should be no brand. Original अगर सोचिए वो कोई brand खरीदा था उन्होंने, Nuzividu seed से खरीदा था, Nuzividu 1, 2, 3 लिखा है, तो आप उसको Nuzividu 1, 2, 3 करके सेल नहीं कर सकते. आप अपने नाम, अपने गांव का नाम भी डाल के सेल नहीं कर सकते. That means the original brand or the new brand cannot be used for sale of seeds. So farmer has a right to save, resale, and grow, and then exchange, and then also sell without any branding. So this is also farmers' rights. ये सारा आपको याद रखना बहुत जरूरी है. In all exams, all interviews, otherwise also it's our duty to do this. There are some things which are very important, but I don't know. Okay. Last slide, perhaps I use this one as the last slide. There are some confusion. Even Government of India has published a IPR policy, in which the policy they have listed all the acts which are related to IPR. Unfortunately, they have listed some act which is called as a Biodiversity Act as a part of IPR policy, which is not correct. You must understand to differentiate between property right, which is intellectual property right, community right, which is the right of the community, and nation's right, that is sovereign right. जो है मैंने present करने की कोशिश किया है. On the first, you have sovereign rights, which is the supreme rights. No other rights will go beyond that. All the property rights, everything, every right is subsumed under supreme under sovereign rights. The sovereign right of the country given by or recognized by all the countries through Convention on Biological Diversity is just because it is occurring in India. Just because it is occurring in India, it belongs to India. Okay? And then second one is about the community rights. Community rights is because the farmers communities are conserving that one, maintaining that one, selecting, using, synthesizing. उसको अभी तक हम लोगों के लिए बचा के रखा है, इसलिए उनके राइट है. Third one is about individual rights, that what we have, like the formal trader or whoever. Okay, and this this is protected by PPV and FRA, the last one. And farmers' rights also include not just the material, their knowledge also. Indigenous technical knowledge is also protected. So which is why the सबसे ऊपर है सर्वोपरि sovereign rights, then community rights, then our rights. Okay. So the last slide, take home message. Take home message. That all students and teachers must be aware of IPRs. आपको interest हो ना हो, आप directly or indirectly you will be affected by that otherwise. Okay. The second one is literature search plus patent search. Must for all your thesis work. Third one is make best efforts to convert your research into IPRs. It can be within a lab. For example, a guide is having 3 students and the work of 3 students can combine into one kind of a product and an idea. Go ahead and do it. The fourth one is protect your IPRs and respect others' IPRs. Do not copy paste. Control C, Control V छोड़ दो. Copy paste करना बंद करो. Do not use AI. ये सारी चीजें आप लोगों को कहीं नहीं छोड़ेगा. Okay? Do not use these things. आपको लगता है कि अच्छा हो गया, काम हो गया, कल सबमिट करना था, कर दिया हमने, नहीं. You will reach nowhere. Do not do that. Avoid Control C, Control V. Write fresh, learn. ठीक है? And help defend sovereign rights and community rights. ये हम लोगों की जिम्मेदारी है. Because we are part of agricultural community, fraternity, we must do this. And the last one is acknowledge credits all the time. Acknowledge credits all the time. In your slides, you should show from where this picture you have taken. Okay? And if you have taken something in your article, mention it from where you have taken. Everywhere acknowledge credits. Okay? Acknowledge credits. And if you have earned some benefits, whether it is let's say monetary or non-monetary benefits, let's say commercial benefit, monetary or some claim, some credit, always share the credit. अगर आप जब ये करेंगे, then you will be successful IT manager yourself. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We don't have time because we have to take lunch also. Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh, आप आए और अपना व्याख्यान दें. 20 मिनट्स में कर देंगे तो सर मेहरबानी होगी टाइम मैनेज करने के लिए. अदरवाइज यू हैव 20 to 25 मिनट्स में.
अच्छा, आप वाला भी 5 मिनट हमारे
नहीं नहीं 25 में बोल दिया. तो आपके गया के ऊपर है.
कोई बात नहीं सर, मैं बहुत जल्दी कोशिश करूंगा. रेस्पेक्टेड चेयरमैन तो अभी है नहीं, हमारे फ्रेंड भी हैं डीके सिंह, और हम दोनों डीके सिंह आई से चले काश्मीर गए, फिर दोनों डीके सिंह आए अहमदनगर और वो यहाँ आ गए. और को चेयरमैन और 2 स्टालवर्ड एग्रीकल्चर साइंटिस्ट डॉक्टर पाठक जी एंड डॉक्टर बसंत राम सर, मिस्टर अमरीश सिंह जी और डियर स्टूडेंट्स एंड फैकल्टी मेंबर्स. मैं ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग पे पिछले लगभग 2 दशक से 2 डिकेड्स से स्टडी कर रहा हूँ, और बेसिकली आपको बड़ा इंटरेस्ट आएगा हो सकता है इसके लिए स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, व्हाट इज साइंस